Peggy and Patience are after my life. Yes, these two friends are after my life. And before you could even start wondering what exactly is happening here, let me give you a little context. Especially for those who are watching me for the first time and those who have not been following this story right from the beginning. So Peggy and Patience are two friends who live together. They contributed money and live together. But they are having issues. And I was simply a neighbor who got involved because I was trying to mediate. I was trying to help them settle their issues because honestly, the whole thing was becoming too much. And in the middle of all of this, Peggy eventually threw Patience's things outside the house. Her things were outside. And I helped her pack those things inside because remember, I went to mediate. But somehow, Peggy became angry because she felt I was supporting Patience. And eventually, the attack was no longer between Peggy and Patience. The attack came directly to me. At this point, I decided that I did not like the way things were going. I did not want the whole thing to continue, so I decided to make peace. I made several attempts to apologize to Peggy, with the help of her mother, of course. Everything was beginning to look like they were going to settle. Meanwhile, Patience still had her things in my house, remember? And because I genuinely wanted the whole thing to end, I also asked Patience to apologize to Peggy, so they could settle their issues and move on. But Patience refused. So I said, okay, if you're not going to apologize, then please come and take your things from my house. And that was it. I went to make peace with Peggy because I did not want to continue carrying this whole issue around. And I told Patience, but from where I stand, I feel like Patience saw herself in a tight corner. Yes, she saw herself in a position where she was not ready to drop her pride and go back to apologize to her best friend Peggy so that they could reconcile. So instead of doing that, she went back to Peggy and started telling Peggy a lot of things I had said. And that information eventually put me in a very uncomfortable position because now the two of them have come together and they are fighting me. And I'm sitting here thinking, how did we even get here? Because these two people were fighting each other. I came into the middle trying to help. I helped when one person was thrown out. I helped bring her things inside. I tried to mediate. I tried to make peace. I apologized. I asked the other person to apologize. And somehow, I am now the enemy. So unfortunately, Peggy and Patience have now formed their own opinion about me. And both of them have come together to decide that Emma is a problem. But I will not keep quiet and allow people to tell my story for me. I will not sit down and allow one side of the story to fly when I'm here and I can defend myself and tell people exactly what happened from my own perspective. And that is why I am making this video. Now, there are quite a few things that Patience and Peggy have said that I want to address. But three things in particular have really stood out to me. First of all, the landlady and the quit notice issue. Patience told Peggy that I instigated the landlady to give them quit notice. And I'm asking everybody watching this video, please, do I have the power to tell the landlady who she should keep in her house and who she should not keep in her house? Seriously, like how? As how, like people will say. The landlady did not need me to tell her that these two people were fighting. Patience and Peggy were fighting all the time. The whole neighborhood was practically on fire. Chaos every day, every time. Everybody knew these two people were fighting. In fact, the landlady herself called me and asked me what was happening. And yes, I told her, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say, oh, I never spoke to the landlady. Yes, I spoke to the landlady, but there is a very big difference between speaking to the landlady about what was happening and instigating the landlady to throw you out. Those are two completely different things. The landlady called me because she wanted to know what was happening. She must have heard from other people, from neighbors, that there was fight every day. And as far as I understand it, other people had also been calling her and complaining about what was happening in the house. She even told me herself that people had been calling her and asking why her tenants were turning the whole place upside down. So why are you now taking that information and turning it into Emma went to the landlady and told her to give us quit notice? Are you people for real? Are you even okay? Can something like that even happen? And let's even put that aside. Did I also step into your problem and try to solve it? Yes. Did I intervene when Peggy threw Patience's things outside? Yes. Did I help Patience bring her things inside my house? Yes. Did I try to mediate between both of you? Yes. Did I try to make peace after the whole thing eventually became problem between me and Peggy? Yes. Now, how come nobody's talking about any of those things? How come the only thing that suddenly matters is the one conversation I had with the landlady? Because it fits the story you want to tell. That's the problem. You take one part of what happened, removed it from the entire context, and suddenly I become the villain. And I'm not going to sit here and allow that. Secondly, Patience told Peggy that I told her not to allow Peggy to bully her. That I told her Peggy was controlling, that Peggy was this, that Peggy was that. Patience, do you listen to yourself? You were a full-grown adult. Did you need Emma to tell you that Peggy is controlling before you knew that Peggy was controlling? Did you need me to tell you that Peggy is a bully before you knew that Peggy was a bully? Have you not told Peggy to her face before that she was a bully? Have I not also said it in front of her that she was being a bully? Were these secrets, were these things some top secret information that Emma sat down and whispered into your ears? No. Everybody knew. We were all saying these things. We were all saying them even in front of Peggy. So why are you now taking those conversations and presenting them to her as though I was sitting somewhere secretly planning against her? I was talking to you because at that point, you were the person that was closer to me. I was trying to understand what was happening. And now you have taken those conversations, carried them back to Peggy and made it sound like Emma was sitting down somewhere condemning Peggy behind her back. Meanwhile, half of the things you carried back were things we had already said in front of Peggy. So what exactly is the crime here? That I said Peggy was controlling. She knows. That I said Peggy was a bully. She knows. I've told her before. That I said she should not allow herself to be bullied. She knows. These were not secrets. But somehow, you have taken all of these things and used them to paint me as a person who was trying to turn you against your friend. And that is what annoys me. But the third one is actually the one that annoys me the most.